This video will be mostly about blogging in WordPress, though I did want to continue talking about a couple things that I mentioned in the previous video. One was WordPress had mentioned in the activation email to check your inbox, and it looks like it was about 10-15 minutes later they sent another email here, and they do have a video attached here. So maybe in the future when you're watching this, especially in the future, this video might be good to watch in addition to my videos. But there's just one thing I want to point out to you from here. At the very end
For
of the
help, we've
video,
created a separate tutorial video for each one of these steps. For more tips and tricks, visit the WordPress.com support site.
these could be a big help to you in the future as they start changing away from what I'm telling you about here, and I may not be aware of it. But also, if you want to do things that are beyond the scope of this class, great place to go and start educating yourself. Also, I mentioned how the cookies sometimes remember your site, so it looks a little bit different when you're looking at it on your computer that you were just looking at. So what I did was I logged into Safari here, so we get a better idea of what the world is seeing so far of my site. So you can see there's the tagline, but it doesn't have these buttons up here. But it does still have this thing to let people know, hey, if you want to make your own WordPress site, here's what you do. Looks like just like a warning to people, if you will, that the site uses cookies. So let's get on with how to post your first like real content blog with an image. So once again, we're just going to go up to the address for the site, put in a /admin, which will prompt us to log in. And after logging in, here we are at the dashboard of our site. So I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. Now remember, one more time here, that things may look different depending on many factors. One is even the size of the browser window. So if you're looking at this on a phone, these things are probably going to be smaller. See how they get bigger just by making the screen bigger. But also, as we talked about, this looks different sometimes. Your little part here sometimes shows up here, sometimes shows up there. So again, just keep your eyes open, and you should be able to find the key things that we're looking for to make these changes. And remember to sign out when you're on a public computer because you don't want someone coming in behind you and posting weird pictures on your blog. Okay, so let's get on to putting in our first actual blog. So the main thing that you have with this site as far as content delivery would be a page and a post. So for a blog, that would be considered a post. So we're going to click on post, and then if you're editing existing posts, you might go to all posts, but if you're adding a new one like we are, we're going to click add new. Okay, I'm going to close this tip here. Okay, so your blogs have a title and then content. So the title goes in this area, content down here. So I'm going to call this blog Image Experiment just by typing in here. Then I'm going to click down here and type some more. Okay, so what I'm going to do for the image is I'm going to come up here, click this plus button, and it adds a block of content here. Gives me a choice, and let's just pick image since that's the most appropriate thing. So we can drag and drop an image just like it says here, or we can go to our media library. But since we've never added an image, we don't have a media library yet. So let's go ahead and do what's probably the easiest thing and just drag an image into this area. So I went ahead and just brought up, in my case, from the Finder. But if you're on a PC, you just go back, navigate, open up the folder. If it's on your thumb drive, whatever, open that up, find your image, drag it onto that area. I'm just going to give you a little sidebar on what the story is behind these images. Usually the biggest question you have when you're doing any kind of web design or blogging is, what is a good size for my images? So I asked myself the same question when I started. You can get recommendations on the web, but I really wanted to know. So I like to experiment and figure out what is going to be best. So let me show you what I did. I created a document in Illustrator where I made a whole bunch of different size artboards and images and wrote down what the size was in pixels and made a grid over the top of them that was all the same size. So it says each square is 50 points. So from here to here is 50 points. They all have a, well, you can read this. So my idea was that I would load these up in different points on my websites as I tested them to see how they would display and come up with what seemed to be the most ideal size. So what I'm going to do for this test post is I'm going to put the biggest image and the smallest image on here and then get an idea of how WordPress handles reducing a big image, and does the small image look too pixelated. The image is in there. It gives me a chance if I want to actually write a caption for the image, I can. I'll just say this is the small one. Okay. Once the image is in here, you have some basic editing options here. If you want the image aligned left, aligned right, aligned to the center, and so on. Or if you don't even like the image at all, you can click here to edit and then go find another one. Now, look what happened. This brought us, this is our media library, and here's the image we added, and it looked like they put a default one in there for us. If we didn't like this image, we could switch it out with this one, but I'm just going to close this out, X that out, and now I just want to add the one other image, so I'm going to repeat what I just did by clicking up here to add a block, and that block will be an image again. And this time, instead of dragging and dropping, I'm going to click upload, and then I'm just going to navigate my way to my folder. And once I get to my folder, I am going to choose the biggest one I have in there. Click choose at the bottom of this menu, which is just below the screen you're looking at, but I'm sure you'll figure that one out. And get down there, and I'll just add to the caption, this is the large one. Okay, so I've got what I want inside of my blog post, and then I'm just going to come over here and click on publish. And sometimes you got to press it twice because it says, "Are you sure you're really ready?" Blah blah blah. And then it also tells you what what the settings are. Do you want everyone to be able to see it? In our case, yes. And do we want it to go immediately? Yes. You can like do 30 posts for the next month, and set them to go at different times. But most of the time, you're just going to put immediately, and we are going to click publish. Gives you the link for, example, if you wanted to go to a social media site and say, hey, look at my post or whatever. And then you can also just click on view post to get as best of a preview of it as possible. But again, like this stuff will show up, and probably if you scroll to the bottom, sometimes depending on what theme you have, there'll be, yeah, like some type of an edit button at the bottom. And then the beauty of this is compared to regular website design is if you notice a mistake here, like for some reason I ended that sentence too quickly, all we have to do, go back into our site, and keep in mind we haven't logged out or anything here. So from here, really easy to just click back on my site, click on the name of the site. Oops, no, actually we want to go into this dashboard here. So look again, this looks a little bit different than it did the last time we were here. So we want to see, all right, what is it that we're trying to manage or do? And it's blog posts in this case. Click on that, and then there are our 3 blogs, and this is the one that we want to change. And so we're just going to get in here, and now it's just a matter of making the changes that I want to make. Once I've made them, I will click update, and this is what the world will see now. Okay, so once you have your post made, now you're waiting for people to comment on it, and you're going to go out and comment on other people's blogs. So what you're looking for, depending on what site they have, is something near the bottom of their blog post that says leave a comment. You're going to click on that, and then they're going to typically what happens when you click in here is are going to be required to log in with an email just for validation that you're real, not just some kind of spam bot trying to mess with people. Put your name. You don't have to, at least on mine, put in the website, but everyone's may be a little bit different. If it asks for your website, then you would put your URL that you came up with. And there you go. It's really as easy as that. Now, the next very important step is once people do comment on your blogs, the rest of the world is not going to be able to see them until you approve them. At least that's the way it is by default. And I would suggest you keep it that way because you don't want the ability for some person to just, put nonsense on your site. Now, when I say that it's by default, keep in mind you have all these settings that we haven't talked about yet where you can change this stuff, but I don't want to complicate things. So for the most part, things the way they are by default in the program is what you want. So what'll happen is after someone comments on one of your blogs, you should be able to come in here to your dashboard, signing into your site, and see something like this. So what I did just for demo purposes is I had two fictitious people comment on one of my earlier blogs so you could see what it takes now to make them show up. So we're going to click on comments here, and then it's just simply a matter of reading through this, make sure there's nothing nasty in here that you wouldn't want on your site, and then you're just going to simply in fact, this you can do them one at a time, or you can click here and here to do it as a bulk action, and then you go under bulk action and you click approve, then apply. Now, the comments that I had made for mine applied to this earlier blog post that we did, just a short, simple one. But now you can see that it says right here, 2 comments. So if we click on this, then we can see the comments that were made by other people. And then you, as the site owner, in this case me as the site owner, I could reply to these people. This person said, wow. I could, simply say thank you. This person asked me a question. Asked me if, are you really made out of wood, meaning this image, and I could say, yes, this is an image made from marquetry or whatever, and then that reply is going to show up on here, and that's how you keep this banter going on and on with these blogs. So I went ahead, clicked reply, and I'm entering this information, clicking post, and now that's going to appear on the page. So you can see, and it's kind of got that hierarchy to it, so that's his comment, that's my comment back, and that's why it's kind of nice to add your image, because then you can kind of see who you're talking to. That's what this person said, that's what this person said. The ultimate beauty of WordPress is that it's never very difficult to fix something, or if if you made one of these posts visible and you want to change that, all you got to do just go back into the site, click on comments to change comments. Click on blogs to change a blog. In fact, if we want to get rid of this one that they first put in there on our behalf, we can just go over here, click on this ellipse, go to, let's see, trash in this case, and boom, it's gone. We're down to just our fresh original content. And as always, remember the last step you should do on a public computer especially is go to you here, and notice it's showing up over here now, and we want to click log out.